computer. Perfect. All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're tuning in from or whenever you're watching this. Today is Wednesday, July the 4th. Happy 4th of July to all of our friends south of the border. You're listening to or watching B&B Hockey Talk. I'm Aaron Bloxel. This is I'm with my great friend Matthew Balzer. And today we're talking about our top 10 Vancouver Canucks prospects. And we both agreed on a list. I actually don't know his list. He doesn't know my list. But we do know that we had some honorable mentions to talk about before we get started. So, Matthew, I'll pass it over to you to kick us off.
All right. So I got three prospects. First one was second-round draft pick in this year's draft, Jet Wu. Played for Moose Jaw, had 25 points in 44 games for them, coming off an injury. I really like him. Big stud defenseman, which the Canucks really need. I think what I've seen in write-ups and stuff is that he started off the year before he got injured and he in a really highly offensive role. But when he came back, he turned into a good shutdown defenseman. So I like what they have there. My second one was a seventh-round draft pick in 2017, Matt Broussard, another defenseman. He had a really good year playing for Oshawa. He had 16 goals and 51 points for them this past year. I think he should be down in Utica, I believe, playing this year. Is an intriguing name. And my last shout out, though the Canucks haven't signed him to an entry level deal yet, which is a bit concerning, is Will Lockwood. He played for Michigan this year and was on the World Junior team this year for the U.S. before he got hurt. I would like to see what exactly the Canucks are going to do with him, but yeah, that'd be my last shout out.
Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciated Will Lockwood's tenacity in the World Juniors, and of course, teammate of fellow Canucks prospect Quinn Hughes. Those two hooked up a few times throughout the year. And my joke of the day, Jet Wu, no relation to Kenny Wu of the Mighty Ducks in the movie. All right, poor joke, I know, but hopefully somebody laughed out there. My two honorable mentions that never made our top 10 list, the one and only Jack Rathbone that everybody's talking about highly of at the prospects camp this week in Vancouver. Of course, he is still playing in the NCAA. Not sure if he's expected to sign this year or not. But they are saying that he's looking like he is ready to make the jump to the pros, more than likely to start in Utica if he does so, as well as Guillaume Brisebois, who, of course, the Canucks brass are very high of, young defenseman out of the Q, who was playing this year in Utica. But they seem to be really high on this guy, and I don't know if they're going to give him a shot or not, but they seem to be talking a lot about Guillaume Brisebois. So those are my two. And, let's get into – I know that our listeners are probably anxious to hear our top 10. Probably no surprises in a few. I want to tell people, though, that we have excluded, of course, people like Brock Besser, Jake Virtanen, because they played a full season with the Canucks. We also excluded Nikolai Goldobin from our list, because we felt he was a regular enough last year between Vancouver and Utica to not include, but obviously three very amazing, talented young players right there. So to add to those players, let's get into it. Let's count it down from number 10. Who do you got?
All right, my number 10 is Lukas Jasek. He was a sixth-round pick in 2015. He really struggled in the Czech Republic this year. He only had 8 goals and 18 points in 48 games in the Czech. But towards the end of the year, he signed over in Utica and all of a sudden he just lit it up. I know he only played 6 games, but he had 3 goals and 7 points. But he really impressed down there, and I'm pretty high on him because it's showing a good scoring touch down in the A, which is still a really good league and a step up from the European League. My number 9 is Petrus Palmu, who played in the Finnish league this year and was the rookie of the year in the Finnish league. Really small player. I think he's only like 5'6" or something like this. But according to scouts and stuff, he's built like a fire hydrant, but his shot is supposed to be really, really wicked. And my number 8, second round draft pick in 2017, Jonah Gadovich. Man, I love this guy. He playing for Canada this year at the World Juniors and Owen Sound in the OHL. He's big. He can hit. He can score. This is some type of player the Canucks really need in their organization.
Yeah. We're pretty close, I think, in who we have on our list. I know, like I said before, when we started the show, we haven't compared the list, but my first 3 on the list, going from 10, 9 to 8, I did not include Lucas Jasek on my top 10. He was on my honorable mentions, but he's doing some good things. I really like the way he played for Utica to finish the season. Signing that professional contract, coming over from the Finnish league. He looked like, some people are talking that he might be a steal from that draft as he was taken in the 6th round in 2015. So, but my number 10 is, again, Petrus Palmu, who you had as your number 9. I really like the guy. I mean, I know he was Finnish Rookie of the Year. He's very small, but he had, if I'm not mistaken, he had about 90 points the year before playing in the OHL. Just a point machine, hard worker, maybe a Brendan Gallagher type player, which really stood out to me. And my number 9 is Mr. Jonah Gadovich, who is also on your list. I just absolutely love everything this guy does. His nickname, I don't know if you know this, is the Man-Child, because he's very similar to when I was watching juniors when I was younger, and I saw, Milan Lucic as like a man playing with little kids, and he was just destroying guys. And Gadovich really reminded me of Lucic when he was with the Vancouver Giants several years. Well, I'm dating myself, but years and years ago. I really liked a lot of the stuff he's done. Unfortunately, he got an injury around Christmas time last year, which affected some of his World Juniors play. And I hear he's still recovering a little bit from it. So I don't believe he's at the camp this week. And if he is, he's not doing a whole lot of contact. He's still suffering from a wrist injury, which he's recovering from. But I'm really looking forward to see what he can do and how he can go. And then my 8th, number 8 on my list, you had this guy as an honorable mention, and I'm surprised, being a goaltender. I have Michael DiPietro as number 8. To me, the guy, he's a smaller goalie. He's super quick and agile. Named today on the tryout list for Team Canada for the World Juniors. Almost made the team last year and actually was on the team at the World Championships just a few months ago as the 3rd goalie. I really liked how Canada gave a young guy an opportunity like that. I really see this guy doing some big things. I think the Canucks are got some real future right now in their goaltending, which is kind of nice to see. They seem to always have a track record of bringing in good goalies, but once they've developed, they don't know what to do with them. So it'll be really interesting to see where that goes. So, but I have pretty high hopes for Michael DiPietro, and I think he has a long career ahead of him. And he might just be a piece in the future that the Canucks can move if they're looking to upgrade somewhere else. So that's my first 3. So let's jump back to you. And who are your next 3 on your list?
All right. My number 7, another second-round pick, Cole Lind. This guy, well, he absolutely ripped it up with the Kelowna Rockets this year. 95 points, I believe, and it really lit a fire when he didn't make the Canadian World Junior team. I think he went back and he had like some 20-something game point streak and stuff. But this is a guy that I would like that will be playing in Utica this year, and I'm hoping will turn into a top six forward for them. Apparently, at the Canucks development camp, apparently he's filled out a lot, and is seeming stronger on the puck and stuff. My number 6. We'll see where you have this guy on your list. Olli Jolevi. He played out in Finland this year. I know this is a guy that Canuck fans struggle with them passing on Matthew Tkachuk. But he's still a very intriguing prospect, especially with the lack of young defensemen coming up in the system. Jolevi is a guy that I'm very intrigued to see how he does this year. Though coming off the back surgery, I think that's the key thing I want to see, because it's the same thing that Edler had early in his career, and I don't think Edler's been quite the exact same defenseman that he was before that. And my number 5, he joined the Canucks towards the end of the season. The Hobey Baker Award winner, Adam Gaudette. He had an all-world season down playing for Northeastern University, scoring 30 goals, 60 points in 38 games. I think this is a guy that's primed, I think, to make the Canucks this year, as long as they can make a spot for him. I'm hoping that he'll be somewhere in that bottom 6, hopefully. And if not, he'll be getting first line minutes, I would think, down in Utica.
And that's definitely a good point that you bring up. If there's a spot for some of these guys, as we know the Canucks just had some. They just basically gave. They have 3 spots that they just picked up veterans for. That might be taking some of these rookies ice time or positions away to start the season. And I know fans are probably going to be outraged by that, although Schaller may or may not start the year on the injured reserve list. But I'm going to jump into my 3. We're very similar, just so you know. We're really close to the same page here. My number 7 pick is also Cole Lind. I think the guy had a phenomenal season in Kelowna, put up just a ton of points. And like you said, not only him, but there were several other key people that were cut from Team Canada. But he had a chip on his shoulder right after Canada cut him, went back to juniors and just went on an incredible point tear, and was just, it's just incredible what he did there. And I think the experience at the end of the year in Utica for, through the playoffs and through the final regular season was a great learning lesson for him. Absolutely. I agree. You also said that he's in great shape right now. Everybody's saying he's heavier. He's more prepared to be a pro because of what he learned. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he looks like here through not just the rookie camp, but also regular preseason. So my number 6 is also Olli Jolevi. So we're, again, very similar to that. Olli Jolevi, I think it sounded like he had a pretty slow start in Finland, but then was able to pick it up in former Canucks coach Sami Salo, keeping a watchful eye on both him and Petrus Polnu. They said he's really progressed throughout the year. He's had a lot of success in Finland this year, and he's looking forward to his pro debut this year. I think he'll probably start in Utica, but I think the only reason the Canuck fans are chapped, though, I mean, yeah, we passed up Matthew Tkachuk, but wasn't Charlie McAvoy in that draft as well?
Oh yeah, that'd be another guy.
Yeah, so I mean that's the one that, but I mean there's several teams passed on those guys. McAvoy went, I think, in the late teens to Boston. And, playing both forward and defense, I've really seen a lot of defensemen in my lifetime take a lot longer to develop and get better. It's almost, like 23, 24 is kind of when they start. So Juolevi, I think, he still has a pretty high potential. Given his age, I think Canuck fans just need to be patient with him. I know we've been patient already for a few years, but defensemen take some time. And I'm really looking forward to 2 years from now to see where he's at. Right? He might be a regular. He might be trade bait. He might be a flop. Well, only time will tell for him. So my number 5 was not Adam Gaudette, but my number 5 is Jonathan Dahlin out of the second division in Sweden. The goal for him last year when he went to the second division was to move up to the first division after Christmas, but he was pretty committed to, I believe it was Timrå where he was playing. And he actually played there the entire year, helped them win their first ever championship in a very long time. I know Canucks prospect Elias Pettersson was super happy for him because he had played in Timrå, and it meant a lot to that hockey club. It meant a lot to that city. I also believe they got relegated up to the first division because of that. And he had a large part to do with that. And the Canucks were really happy with his development. They might not have agreed with him staying there through the Christmas season, but and finishing off the year. But they saw a lot of good things with him. They gave him the contract. He played the end of the season and playoffs in Utica. Looked great. I think he's potentially going to make the team out of training camp with the Canucks. But given their roster status right now, he might be one of those guys that makes the team, but has to go down to the farm because of how many bodies they got. So that's where I'm at. Maybe instead of your next, do you want to do your next 3 or your next 2?
I'll do my next 2.
Okay. All right. Let's jump into your next 2 and see where you're at.
Well, number 4, just the guy that you were just talking about, Jonathan Dahlin. Still, I think one of those nice trades that Benning made, and Alex Burrows for Jonathan Dahlin, with Burrows getting bought out this offseason now. It's just the perfect timing for that trade. Dahlin, yeah, I would like to see him, even though it most likely won't happen, with him and Pettersson on the Canucks to start the season. To see how they would do. But yeah, Dahlin, this guy looks like he'll be a good top 6, 25, 60 point guy at least. I would say, and looks like one of the steals that Benning actually was able to get. Number 3, I'm a huge fan of this guy, Thatcher Demko. And this guy is primed to be the Canucks' number 1 goalie in a couple of years, and I think he should be the Canucks' backup this year. He had an excellent year down in Utica. He was an AHL All-Star, and even though Utica was eliminated in the first round of the playoffs against the Toronto Marlies, they took the Marlies all the way to 5 games, and Demko was really the main reason why they were able to push them that far. But depending on what they do with Anders Nielsen still under contract, it might be tough to see that he gets a spot to start the season with the Canucks. But I would really like him and Markstrom to be the two goalies to start the year this coming year.
Perfect. Yeah, my number 4 is Thatcher Demko. I like you. I think it was. I don't. As much as I'd like to see him play in Vancouver this year, I have a feeling what the Canucks are going to do with him is put him down on the farm, continue to get him as many games as possible. I know he didn't play. He barely played over half the games last year, splitting a lot of time with Richard Bachman. But I see him this year playing the bulk of the games down there. And I also see if there's an injury this year to either Markstrom or Nilsson that they're going to bring this guy up and probably play him. There's a possibility. I can see Demko getting 5, 10, maybe even as many 15 games this year in Vancouver if especially if Markstrom gets hurt and there's a long-term injury there. I would love to see him as the backup. I don't know if it utilizes him though, unless him and Markstrom are splitting, or at least he's getting that 30, 35 game range. I do think he'll benefit from NHL shooters shooting on him. It'll help him that much faster. But I do, based on the Canucks situation though right now, I see him just going down to Utica, getting the bulk of the games, and I really believe he's probably going to be the number one goalie within the next year or two in Vancouver, no matter how much Markstrom progresses. And the future is bright for the Canucks in that. I mean, I talked already a little bit about DiPietro, and I can really see the Canucks having Demko DiPietro as a 1-2 punch down the road in the next few years once they've developed a little bit more. So and to touch on your Jonathan Dahlen comment too, by the way, I was thinking about it when you said it, was Alex Burrows got bought out in Ottawa. He's probably the happiest player in the NHL right now. Mm-hmm. He's not only going to get paid for this year, but he doesn't have to be around the mess that's happening in Ottawa.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully, for Alex's sake, he gets a contract somewhere. But my number 3 was your number 5, and that was Adam Gaudette, Hobey Baker Award finalist or winner. And had just a tremendous year. I really didn't see him he didn't really get a lot of points with Vancouver to finish up the season, but I really did see a lot of improvement with his play down the stretch, especially in the last game against Edmonton, the final game of the season. He was all over the place. I really thought he was unlucky to not get several points that game. I really like the way his overall game is. He's solid in his own end, and he's solid in the offensive zone. Travis Green absolutely loves this guy, says his hockey IQ is off the charts. I can really see him. I believe he's going to make the team this year, and it may. I guess so. It really depends on how much ice time they're going to give to Beagle and Sutter, right? Because we know Horvat's number 1, so with Beagle and Sutter now, Gaudette's going to have to fight Gauntz for that center spot, but I know Gauntz can play all over the place. I can see Gaudette being, the fourth line center, maybe even a winger. I really hope that he gets an offensive chance, just based on the conversations I've seen with him and Travis Green. They really like the way, he could run a power play and stuff like that. I don't see him on the top unit on the power play, but I do see him getting on the second unit. So it'll be interesting to see where he falls once all the players come in, because I know Schaller is potentially penciled in for that fourth line center spot. But Schaller can also play the wing as well, which is nice. So it'll be, interesting to see what Travis Green does. I do like the fact that the Canucks have all these players. I know fans don't like it, but I do know that it sparks competition. And with competition comes, a lot of it just brings it brings the best out of people, and you see what they're made of, and it'll be really neat to see who sticks around and who doesn't this year. So I'm gonna guess and go out on a limb. Our top 2 are the same.
Yeah.
Our list was fairly similar, but I'll let you kick off our top 2 with your number 2.
Well, number 2. Yeah, well, number 2, the first round pick from this year's draft, Quinn Hughes. Well, this is the guy that the Canucks have been waiting for on the back end for, maybe since the beginning of the organization. This guy can skate. He can run a power play, which the Canucks haven't had an elite power play quarterback on the back end for probably since like Christian Ehrhoff. I would say. Be interesting. A lot of conversation on if he'll turn pro this year. I think big thing is I would like to see him turn pro. And if he doesn't make the Canucks, at least he can go down to the AHL, because I think he's already done everything he can in college. I think especially in the second half of this year in college, and he was basically a point a game player, I believe, and playing with the U.S. at the Men's World Championship really helped him playing with the men and seeing what he'll be going up against, and he didn't look out of place when I watched him when they played Canada. And then number one would be the guy that everybody's waiting for this coming year, Elias Pettersson, or however you want to pronounce that. I'll say Pettersson. Well, the MVP, he won basically every single award that he could over in Sweden this year. It'd be interesting to see who he'll be paired up with center ice. If it'll be a Sam Gagner, if they'll move him to center ice there, or if he'll get a chance with Besser and Horvat. Be interesting to see.
I believe, obviously both our picks are the same. I believe we're going to see. I think Pettersson's a right winger when he plays the wing, which unfortunately is what Brock is as well, is he not?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it might be interesting to see. Who knows? Maybe he's versatile enough to play the left side. I mean, a line of Pettersson, Horvat, and Besser would sure be exciting to watch and interesting to see for sure. I also obviously Quinn Hughes is my number two. I'm excited when you're talking about, he's the first power play quarterback, and then you're trying to stretch. I mean, I was thinking past Christian Ehrhoff. I'm thinking since Jyrki Lumme, right, of the mid-90s. It's been that barren of defensemen for the Canucks that can run a power play. I really loved what I saw out of the highlights that I've seen of him out of the university for only being a sophomore. He's only he's playing against guys that are a year, 2 years, 3 years older than him already. World championships, he didn't look out of place at all with the USA, and just had a great tournament. I would love to see him go pro this year. I really hope he doesn't go back to university because he's just going to crush a lot of records there if he does. I don't think it will help his development at all. I think he's ready to turn pro. I think he's ready to I think he's going to make the Canucks. They're going to find a way to keep him because I think he'll be, he'll stand out amongst the defensemen, especially the left-handed shooters, and he can play both sides. So it'll be interesting to see what they do to make room for him if, in fact, he does make the team. If he goes down to Utica to start the season, I wouldn't be surprised only because of asset management. Again, they have 8 defensemen right now that are scheduled to play ahead of him. I believe he can at least beat out 2 or 3 of those guys, though, to be a regular in the lineup every day. And then, of course, we talked about Pettersson. I mean, what fan's not ready for this guy? Every award possible in Sweden this year. Playoff MVP, MVP of the year, leading scorer, Rookie of the Year. Just hearing Travis Green talking about this guy, and he's going to be in the top 2 lines to start the season. And I don't think it's going to take him too long to adapt either. I mean, he looked fantastic at the World Championships until he got hurt. And he's just, the guy's got an incredible shot. He's shifty. A lot of people are worried about his weight. I don't think you have to worry about that anymore with the way the new NHL is. It's fast. Guys are definitely a lot smaller than they used to be. I remember, back probably like even 6-7 years ago, Yeksa had to put on a lot. He was always putting on a lot of weight to play in the NHL, but the NHL had changed so quickly to becoming a faster, lighter league that all of a sudden he had to lose weight just so that his skating speed could keep up. And I think people that are worried about somebody's weight like that obviously didn't see Patrick Kane play when he first started. I mean, the guy looked like he's 140 pounds soaking wet. And with Pettersson, I don't think the Canucks have to worry about that. That's why we got guys like Anton Roussel. Make sure guys don't touch him, right? But I'm really excited to see him play. So, any final words before we wrap up today's show?
Well, just the big thing is that if none of these guys do make the Canucks, Utica will be loaded this year, and the big thing where you look at organizations like Detroit and Nashville and even Tampa Bay and stuff. A lot of those guys developed down in the AHL, and they had in those organizations. They're known for having great AHL success, winning Calder Cup trophies and stuff. So if if these guys aren't able to make the Canucks, Utica will be fun to watch and follow this year and see how all these guys do.
And I think even if they start in Utica, a lot of them, we're going to see them throughout the year because, as we know, the Canucks are every year they're very much injury prone. They're always one of the highest amount of games lost in the NHL to injuries. And we're going to see a lot of them throughout the year. I think it's still a learning curve for a lot of them. I think fans need to be patient. We're still in our rebuild. There's a lot of talent there on this list, and I believe that this is still the beginning. I mean, the Canucks still have these guys are still learning, and you give them a year or two down the road, they're going to be that much better. And I really don't think it's worth rushing because we saw what happened in Edmonton all those years when they just rushed their talent to the NHL. As good as those players were, they just could never win. And I think the Canucks are doing the right thing by taking it slow. And man, Utica is going to be an exciting team to watch this year either way. So anyways, I'm Aaron. He's Matthew. Smash the like button, hit the share button. You know what? We enjoy bringing this to you guys. This is B&B Hockey Talk. Thanks so much for watching today, and we will see you guys all on the next episode.